Hello YouTube, hello fans, this is Daniel, back again for another video. This time doing something a little bit different. You may notice that I'm in a different room of my house. This is the downstairs of my house. And it's a Friday night, and most people out right now are at the clubs or the bars or whatever. And I'm sitting here doing a client's chart. And the reason for this video and this format is that I'm doing something a little bit different in that I have received more than one email as of late regarding the effects of stelliums in the natal chart. And how does a stellium affect somebody depending upon where it's located in the natal chart? And really, once when they tell me these things and they describe kind of the things that they're encountering in their own life with regard to this, it begins to make a lot of sense, because stelliums, they do many different things all over the chart. As you may or may not know, a stellium, in a technical sense, is the placement of 4 planets within a single house, and in many circumstances a single sign, so that you have really a coalescence of energies that make up your total life, centering in one force, centering in one area, and being dominated by one energy. The simple fact and reality of astrology typically is the fact that we are a multitude of energies. We have planets, in the 2nd house, and the 5th house, and the 11th house. Some houses are empty. Some influences, some signs have no bearing on us whatsoever. Others, form, the planetary dominance, and the dominant signs that make up what our chart truly is. And so, people kind of get hung up on, things here, things there. But truly, we are we're a patchwork for most of us. But stelliums are something a little bit different. They're a little bit of a different animal, in that people who have stelliums in the chart, once again, that is 4 planets residing in namely the same house, but also the same sign, creates almost like a needlepoint energy, where most of your life, most of the things that you're going to hold dear, most of your goals, objectives, encounters in life are going to be colored by similar experiences, and they're going to have similar outcomes. You're going to react similar to a variety of situations based on the location of these planets. In the case of one of the subscribers to my channel, they had a question, and I won't get too detailed or specific, but they had a question regarding the presence of a stellium in the 5th house. And their concern to me was that they had these planets in the sign of Capricorn, and contrary to many things that I have been saying about the sign of Capricorn, they had wondered, why is it that I have, these planets in a sign dedicated to work, struggle, labor, climbing the mountain of success. And yet they felt none of this. They felt as though there were roadblocks. They felt as though there was an energy that was, gutted from them, that was pulling them away towards other things. And I had asked them a couple questions, and then they indicated to me that this stellium existed within the 5th house. Now, let's think about that for a second. So in the 5th house, number one, the lord of the 5th house, the ruler, is the sign of Leo. And so the energy there is solar, it's the sun. When we think about the sign of Capricorn is inherent to the planet Saturn. Of course, Saturn means all of these things that I have talked about in previous videos. However, when you have planets that occupy a sign of one type and yet reside in a house that is its polar opposite. That is, in fact, its nemesis, if you will, because if you are familiar with the astrological lore, as it were, the Sun and Saturn are enemies. They have different goals, they have different energies, they're completely counter to one another. Just as an example, with the Sun, there's the essence of the ego. There's the essence that, I already should have everything. I should already have attained everything. There's no work involved. And you can kind of see where I'm going with this, where, Saturn, of course, is all about hard work, paying your dues, making it happen the hard way, and really earning your keep. And the Sun feels that this is completely unnecessary because, of course, they're royalty. And so being that, a stellium existing in the fifth house, and I'm just using this as an example about how stelliums affect our lives. Using this as an example, when we think about houses, we're thinking about the world. We're thinking about the dimensional sphere, really, that the planets live in. Their existence in your life in a natal chart perspective are within those houses. This is the environment that they live in. As much as you and I both spend our lifetime here on Earth, these planets, in a metaphysical sense, spend their entire lifetime with regard to you in the fifth house environment, in this example. And so, being in the fifth house, we're talking about a house that's creative. We're talking about a house, basically of family, of children, of things that are fun, of playtime, of concerns that revolve around things that we want, things that we want to do, not things that we have to do. And so really, when we think about these planets, as once again as an example, in Capricorn living in the fifth house, we have to bear in mind that, we have hard, tough, working planets that are living in a house of playtime. And so really this takes the fire out of these planets to a certain extent. This takes on an energy where somebody is going to be looking through, just a desire to achieve things, to make things happen in a very Capricorn way. But at the same time, they're going to be hampered by things outside of themselves within the environment. And so, you can see then how a stellium, if, it's affecting your Venus, your Mars, your Mercury, your Sun. These are very key indicators about, who we are as people. If these signs exist within a house that is all about having a good time, then there's really not going to be too much motivation internally beyond maybe just an ember to, really get down to business, to really make things happen. And this is just, kind of the nature of the placement. And really it's nothing to be too concerned about, other than to realize within yourself, if you have, planets, stellium specifically, within houses, that lend themselves to a certain amount of, relative leisure, as the fifth house is the perfect example of this, then really it's to look at that and to say that, there are going to be things that are going to attract my time a lot more than things that need to happen. And so, there might be a lack of willingness to put forth the energy towards things that, may not seem fun, may not seem creative, may not seem all that worthwhile. But really, the person has to look beyond that. And really, this is part of the magic of astrology in general, which is to understand what our own pitfalls are in life and what our own limitations are with regard to things that we're going to be presented with. So that when these things manifest in our lives, we can then begin to say, okay, this is a product of this placement. And so I need to look beyond that and to say, no, I need to step away from, what is presented to me, look beyond it, and, move towards things which are more important, in the day-to-day life, be it, work or paying bills or going to the gym or, things that aren't necessarily considered creative or fun or, a leisure type activity, and realize that they're good for us. Realize that, we have to tame the lion of the fifth house to say that, you have to really put things into perspective. And really, this is all, just kind of just part of the essence of how, we can begin to understand what stelliums do. Stelliums in different houses, do completely different things. But truly they are remarkable because of the fact that they focus so much energy in a person's life in a certain arena, depending upon the house placement of the given stellium itself. So in this is going to be a relatively short video, but I just wanted to shed a little bit of light onto stelliums and their makeup and what they do. In this case, in the fifth house, and I'm going to look further on into other houses, with stellium positions by request, and possibly just as a general information video. But I hope this has been helpful to those of you who have a cluster of planets in the fifth house, perhaps understanding why your motivation is more geared towards what may be more appealing to yourself and to your general sphere of influence on a day-to-day basis. Remember too that the fifth house is related to the development of the personality. It's related to the development of psychodramas. And it's a big part of the chakras of healing and personality training. Because of course as we move through the zodiac, we go from the fifth and on into the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, and so on. There's a general sense of an age progression. So that when we get to the fifth house, we're thinking in terms of really a pre-adolescent. We're thinking in terms of what we want to do. And so you can kind of liken, the persona, if you will, of the fifth house to that of somebody who is, kind of like that, that 9, 10, 11-year-old kid, who, they don't want to go to school in the morning. They want to play games. They want to, have a good time. They want recess to be longer. They don't want to, do math and, study, different books and all that kind of stuff. And it's really just par for the course. And kind of the unfortunate side effect is that, we tend to lose focus of, what is important on a day-to-day level, as would befit someone who had a sixth house stellium. But then again, it creates somebody, who really is a lot of fun. So of course, there's ups and downs to everything, to every house, and to every stellium that is presented. So once again, I hope that this video has been informative. It's a little bit different format than I typically do, but I wanted to address a little bit about the temperament of different stelliums in different houses, beginning with the fifth house, because I had received some questions regarding it. I hope you all have a great Friday night, and I'm going to finish this natal chart that I'm working on for probably the next 3 or 4 hours. All right, take care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.